Hi, Nicolette. All right, guys. So welcome back to our session. Um, what we want to do now is I want to start sharing the screen. So you'll need to let me know when you when I start sharing if you see the entire thing or not. Here we go. All right. So you guys are seeing my display screen, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. Good. All right. Richard, I was trying to find out if you were using your phone or if you were using a laptop. A desktop. I think you might, if you use your phone for the audio, you might actually be able to join in because the desktop might actually not have a microphone in it. That has been happening with some people. All right, so the first thing I wanted to show you guys, are you guys seeing this?
Yes,
This
sir.
is
Yes,
this is
sir.
the right. So this is the e-classroom. Is it relatively clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is going to be a bit different to the to what you saw on the in the first year classroom. I am a minimalist, so you see all them picture and thing. I have enough picture and thing to come up with now. So what you're seeing right now, we turn editing off and go to the student view, um, so that you will see you'd see it in a way that I have it. Now I have my navigational bars put to the side, docked on the side because I like everything kind of clear and uncluttered. I've also turned off or closed off some of my the other displays going on there. Oh, Mr. Mansingh comes back. Hi, Mr. Mansingh. Stefan. All right. So we're back here. So how many people have come to the class?
I
Have
did.
navigated to
I
the
did.
event.
I
I did.
did.
All right.
Same here.
Anybody having any problems navigating? No problems. All right. So let's go through the first block here has to do with our student resources. So you have two textbooks and an economics dictionary. So have you downloaded them yet? They're for your use in the class. Um, the course outline with assessment schedules, rubrics, and course policies as a document that you also want to be able to download as well. The second area is for our assessment portals. It's our submission portals. You'd see two sets for the same for everything. One is a Turnitin. That's to check your citation requirements. And then once you finish with getting all that cleared up, this is where you put your final drafts in. And then I have open the first unit. Anybody looked at this unit here?
Yeah, I did.
Yes, sir.
Unit
Yes,
one.
sir.
All right. And the structure is what you're going to be seeing coming up for all of the different units that exist for the course. So you'd see we go unit one, unit two, then unit five, then back to unit three, four, then six, seven, and seven is done in two parts. All right. You can't see what I have on the screen. Um, is anybody else having that problem?
No, sir.
Oh, Richard, I'm not certain what's happening. you should be seeing everything. I mean, I just moved off of it, but you should be seeing everything. Um, okay. All right. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go to the course outline with the assessments and that type of stuff to be able to go through that with you to determine how we're dealing with things during the semester. All right. Wrong folder right now. Oh, you can't see. Oh, okay. Right. Right. Okay. How are we gonna address that one?
You could just zoom up using your mouse. So I don't know what type of mouse you have, but
Yeah. Actually, yeah. You might be able to zoom in a bit more, Richard, if you're having sort of vision issues. What's the document we're looking for here?
the course outline.
Yeah, but it's course outline with something. Right. I know what to do. Let me just download this one here. Okay, course outline. Okay, cool. I just renamed it on the color you can't see. How about this one? This is the course outline now. All right, so this is the course outline. Um, or night mode. Okay. All right. Well, Richard, probably have to have a chat afterwards about how we can make things a little more um, amenable for you. All right. So I'll give you a call either tonight after class or tomorrow. We can have a chat before my other class. All right. So let's look at the total number of assessments throughout the class. There are 7 quizzes from each unit, and they will contribute towards 30% of your final grade. The quizzes are constructed as multiple choice. There are 10 questions in which you will have about 20 minutes to do them, 15 to 20 minutes. All right. There's one individual research paper that you will be doing, which will count for 20%. There will be one individual journal, article journal, which is another 20%. Then we have a group project, which is assessed in 2 ways. The group paper is assessed at 20%, and the group presentation that you'll be doing is weighted at 10%, and that is the total of all the assessments that you're going to be having. So far, so good. Everybody's following?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is my contact information here. These are the email addresses in the event that you want to get it. This email address here is my private email. This is an emergency email just in the event that if anything goes wrong with any of the college's websites. Now, office hours, I'm not holding specifically to the 1 to 4 situation, but the basic way, if you need to have a chat with me, is message on the group chat or individually, and we set up a one-to-one time frame where we could meet each other. So I prefer to speak to people either via WhatsApp. I have no problem calling you. I know sometimes people don't have money on their phone, that kind of stuff. I will call you and we can have a chat, or we can do an online meet session or a Zoom session. I also have that capacity as well. I'll just send you the link and we'll meet there. The WhatsApp chat is also one of the areas that you can communicate with me as well, and it's more immediate, with the exception of when I'm in a class or if I'm sleeping. So basically, what I'm trying to say to you guys is, by 9 o'clock at night, you should really stop trying to call me and stuff, because I need to get rest for the following day. I also have work to do things on the on other courses and other stuff that I'm working on. So I'm going to need some time to work on those things, as well as get some rest and work on home related stuff. You're all familiar with that. I mean, needing time to do things that you have around you in your house. Um, However, in the WhatsApp, if you put a message in the WhatsApp, I don't need to respond to it immediately. I can respond to it when I have a chance, which could be, when I'm working late at night and stuff like that. I can always message you. So messages can be sent anytime, but I may not respond to it immediately. All right. I'm still going to be available, because I know emergencies can come up, things can happen and go wrong. So you could always send me a private message, to let me know something. And if I look at it, and I see something urgent, I can either call you back or message you to let you know that I understand what's going on. This is especially if you're having problems with assignments, or if you're having issues at attending sessions and so on. Again, just to be like what we're doing now, we're recording the session, so that once the recording is completed, I will process it, put it to a YouTube account, and then I will post the link into the classroom, so that you can go to the link and review the material that was covered in the e-class session for your own purposes. That is kind of important, because for whatever reason, some people may not be able to make all sessions. All right, so you all can go through this in more detail in terms of the course description, and the write up on it and that type of stuff. So that's for your information. This is also a concept map in terms of how we're looking at the course and how it's arranged, and the relationship between the various parts of the course that build into the design of the program, and of course the rationale and whatnot. So these are the learning outcomes. Again, you all can go in, and this is a lot of reading, but I would recommend that you read them so you get a better idea. And then this here really speaks to, all of you all did your learning style inventory, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And this is especially the people who did the first year experience class. But those people who didn't do it may have done what is called a VARC system, visual, auditory, read, write, and kinesthetic. The learning outcomes actually speak to a similar thing: cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. This speaks to the area of the learning outcomes that we're trying to put in place. What parts of the brain functions we're looking at. So affective domain has to do with behavioral learning objectives, psychomotor or physical. So that's kind of like skills. And K would be knowledge and cognitive information, stuff that we're looking for. This being a first year course, you'd find that there's a heavy dominance of cognitive information passing here, because a lot of knowledge is being passed on, but we also trying to help shape some of your attitudes towards things, as well as develop some physical skills or mental skills. All right, so you'd see like developing self-directed learning, communications, utilizing appropriate citation, using graphs and basic mathematical concepts. So those are knowledge, skills, and attitudes that fall into that area there. These are this is a checklist that shows us the link between what this course does and the program that you're in. The main program that we connected to was the management and entrepreneurship program, but the economic concepts sort of foundational concepts that sit across all of the business programs that we're looking at, and that this is what this document does here. It looks at how this course is positioned inside the entire program. So Econ is just one course in the entire program, and therefore it impacts upon the learning outcomes for the program itself. All right. So again, not too worried. And then now this is more detailed about each of the research. Each of the activities that we're doing for assessment. We're also looking at what learning outcomes it addresses in relation to what you're doing. So the individual research assignment is really self-directed learning, and it counts for 20% of your final grade, but it actually tries to test learning outcomes stretching from 1, 2, and 3, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, which was identified higher up in the document. And we will have the details of that a little lower down in this document. The article journal, same thing. It's looking at the learning outcomes, and then it's weighted at 20%, and you can see all of the learning outcomes it looks at. The unit quizzes, which there are 7, and you'd see what it's trying to do. This is weighted at 30%. And then we have the group written project. You realize it's a summative evaluation. So it's going to be going right across the board. 20% is for the write-up. The oral group presentation, again, it tests all of the learning outcomes, but represents 10%. So collectively, the group project is a 30% exercise. And we'll look at the instructions for that in a little bit. These are the teaching methods that we hope to use. We have project online activities, research, project and presentations, lectures, and that type of stuff that we're looking at. So this is our course calendar, and this is something that we want to pay attention to, because these are the suggestions. Today is the 2nd of March. So did anybody download this document already?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you could follow along with it. So this is today's session. You notice there's no content going on. We are going through all of the documents and making some plans for how we're going to proceed. The purple labels are online sessions that I'm planning to have. I don't expect to have a session with you all until the 23rd of March. All right, so we're not necessarily going to have sessions every week. That's the plan, because I need you all to start to work with the content and begin. So we'll go across to the other thing. You'd see in the course outline there are YouTube links to videos that you could look at as well. These are resources that you can use to help understand the content. So Unit 1, the nature of economics. Unit 2, the economic problem. You'd also see readings here from one of the textbooks that we're utilizing. That's the microeconomics. Well, you'd see it. It's called OpenStax. Who downloaded the textbooks already?
Yes, sir.
Did you see a Sloman and did you see an OpenStax?
So I just downloaded.
All right, well, now you're seeing the relevance of it, right? So there are readings associated with each of the units that you can read to get the basic information. You can look at the YouTube channel listed on the course outline here, as well as look at the presentation that I have for the unit as well. So the combination of that should be able to give you sufficient information to be able to tackle the quiz that, well, the quiz is open already. And the way the quizzes are designed is to test this content. So I can't put questions into the quiz that test something outside of the content that I'm trying to explain to you guys. All right, so we're limited by what the course outline sets up the parameters within which we are going to work for the rest of the semester in terms of the content. So this is why the course outline is important. Now, as I said, the scheduling on the side here, the dates and stuff, they're not carved in stone. They can change depending upon the needs of the class. So if the class is having problems with a unit, it means that I'm not going to abandon you and say, okay, we don't have a next session until so and so time. We have a session on the 23rd of March. But if in between that, if necessary, we can have a session because people want it. That's also one of the functions of the group chat, because that will be able to tell you that that will be able to tell you what is relevant or not. I think I'm making a mistake there. That will tell you what is important or not, or whether or not what I have put up is helping or not helping, as the case might be. All right, so we'll see how that works out as you progress through the activities. Now, the Unit 5 is a pretty difficult, well, I shouldn't say difficult, but challenging topic. It has to do with consumer behavior. Mr. Singh, you remember consumer behavior?
Yes, so most of it.
Right. So you remember marginal utility theory and indifference curves theory?
Yeah.
Right. So you remember that is not necessarily going to be something that people will grasp very easily, which is why I have a online session that I have material up. My hope is you will go through the material, and when we meet in class, we're going to discuss and explain and add further value to the presentations. That's the idea behind what I'm looking at. So you're going to be using the resources listed here in the course outline, as well as the resources on the e-classroom. So on the e-classroom, for example, for that for the introduction, you'd see there's a YouTube link here, there's the presentation. So those two are the resources that are listed here. But if you go across to the course outline for that unit here, you would see two YouTube channels here, two YouTube links here, and a reading. All right, chapter 1, pages 9 to 17 from the Greenlawn's Chaparro textbook, Principles of Microeconomics. All right. So the idea is that you use a combination of the resources to be able to get an understanding. But you first start with the presentation, the PowerPoint that I have up. That makes sense? Any questions so far? All right,
No, sir.
Some feedback would be nice, guys.
No,
Right now,
sir.
talking to us here, all right? All right. So these are the sessions that I'm planning, but as I said, they don't necessarily have to stay this way. We can do more sessions if necessary, or less if necessary. All right, so the first deadline for submission is Sunday the 25th of April. So that's reflected on the e-classroom. That's the individual assignment. Now, we haven't actually looked at that, but I want to show you what it looks like here. On this final draft here, if you click on it, it's going to give you the instructions, and it should indicate to you the due date, the 25th of Sunday, the 25th of April at 11:55. Basically, what I'm trying to give you all is up to midnight on Sunday, but unfortunately, the system does not allow us to set it. It sets time in increments of 5 minutes. It doesn't set time in increments of 1. So you all have 54 days and 4 hours left to submit your final draft of this document. Now, let me go back a little bit and show you what happens. When you do your first and second drafts and you kind of feel like you're ready to submit, the first thing you have to do is you have to upload your assignment into the Turnitin. And in Turnitin, you submit it here. It will then process it through, what what we call a plagiarism checking software, which will then compare your work against the database of other work, and then return a comparative for you that shows you how much of your work is actually similar to work from other pieces of work out there. If you understand, basically what I'm trying to say to you is you have to limit the amount of copying or copy and pasting that's going on, and this is one of the things that we're talking. One of the tools. So the idea is, don't be afraid to use the thing, because this is not where I'm going to be looking at your final things here. But what I want you to have is, I want you to have no more than 15% similarity. Now, when you start to get further into the program, it's going to go down from 15 to 10%, okay? And all of your major assignments, your individual assignment 1 and assignment 2, are both to be, and your group project have to be turned in there, and it must come back with a similarity rating of less than 15, or 15 and less. All right. If your assignment comes up with similarity ratings that are too high, we are not supposed to mark it. But the idea is that you'll get a chance to do your own Turnitin and then fix what is wrong in terms of comparatives. And you get it down to the 50% and then submit. All right, that makes sense so far. You're following what I'm talking about?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. You all came across the Turnitin and that first year experience class?
No, sir.
How come one person says no and one person says yes? You all did different courses?
No, I don't believe it had the Turnitin in the first year course.
So I did it in my RIT 117 class.
The lit one, the
RIT
what?
117 class.
Rick did it. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Lynn
I
should
had
have
it for
done
the
it as well.
I had
Yeah.
it for the majority of my classes.
Right. For people who are in the system right now, much older than you guys, the older students or the more advanced students, you all would have come across this submission pointer all the time before. All right.
Yeah.
So let's let's look at the quiz now. So you understand how your projects are being. So each project has a deadline date, which is identified on the course schedule that's built into your course outline. Okay. So the first deadline is the 25th of April. The journal, its submission date is May the 30th. All right. And again, you see the same, I'm using the same Sunday, 11:55 p.m. Then the next unit 8 here is a self-directed unit, which is contained in the which is one of the questions that you'll be handling for this individual assignment. So unit 8 is being dealt with strictly by self-directed learning. That is the distribution of income area. All right. The next deadline date is project presentations. So we have presentations due on the 8th of June. Now that's important because that's the end of the semester. The 8th of June is the last teaching week, and you all have to do a presentation of your project, which is called a country economic analysis. All right. So your country analysis is going to be your presentation, which makes up the project itself, which is then due, the actual project is due for submission on the 20th of June. So you're presenting first, and then you are submitting the write-up. Now, the reason for that is because now we're going to be working together throughout this whole process, okay? So this online session here is one of the things, it's a session before the presentations, just to check and make sure everybody's okay. There shouldn't be any teaching going on during that period. We should just be kind of meeting in class on that day, the 1st of June, to make sure everybody's more or less ready with their stuff. But I will be checking in with you all almost every class to see where you all are at with your group projects and your level of preparedness for both the project and the presentation elements of it. And as I said, the next thing is your quizzes, and I have the quizzes all to close on the 20th of June as well. All right, that means that the quizzes will be available up until the 20th, but there's a caveat to that, and we'll do that when we're looking at. These are the readings, the textbooks that we talked about. This is so you have these two textbooks on the what you downloaded off the thing. This is just the full publishers and everything that you have available. For those of you who are can access the library, John Sloman is available in the library. Now, any textbook will help you. Any A-level or further textbook would help you. So, Mr. Singh, if you still have your A-level textbooks, you can use them as well. I would be a little hesitant to say you can use your O-level textbooks, with the exception of you can probably start to look into that. But what we're looking for is more deeper analysis, which should come with higher level textbooks like the Sloman, or there's the Lipsy, Crystal and Lipsy. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that textbook. But as I said, any textbook can become a useful source of information for you to utilize, not only to answer questions and do projects, but also to simply get a better understanding of the content. And then, of course, we have the online references. There are lots of YouTube videos that I will be linking in the e-classrooms for you guys to go through. A question I wanted to ask was, right now I only have Unit 1 open. But do you all want me to open everything and you all can move through at your own pace, or what you want to do? You want me just open it up week by week, or just expose everything? Because almost everything is ready. Let me put it to you that way. Feedback is a friend.
So I can open it in my, but I do have a problem with you opening it. Open up all.
But you need to be aware of the dates and deadlines of things, right? So, for example, let's click on the quiz and see what's happening with the quiz. So this quiz is open already, and it's going to remain open until the 20th of June. You can see from the top here, you have 2 attempts at the quiz, and there's a 20-minute time frame. Now, the way the quiz is built, it's 10 questions, but it's pulling from a bank of questions, so that when you do it the second time, you may not necessarily get the same set of questions. You might get a combination of, well, basically you'll get a different subset of 10 questions to attempt. But all of the questions will be on the content from the first unit. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
All right, so, and this is the way, I'm going to start a quiz now. And just to show you, this is the way it's going to come up. It's going to come up. You have this quiz navigation here that moves from question to question. And you simply have to check which one you want, which answer you want to choose. So economic theory aims to do something to human behavior. So it's a criticize, predict, change, or explain. What do you think it is? Anybody? A, B, C, or D? What does economic theory attempt to do?
D.
D, explain. All right, that's it. That looks like it's wrong.
It's B.
Is it?
Yes.
Predict.
So it's a change.
It doesn't. It doesn't really change. So next page. Now, this is not fair, because I mean most of you all haven't gone through this. Which branch of economics studies the decisions of individual consumers and individual firms? Now, this is for the people who are already into economics. Is it microeconomics, normative economics, macroeconomics, or positive economics?
So A, microeconomic.
Who's that brainiac?
Try Asia.
You did econ before? All right. Economists study how people make what? I hear Mr. Singh, Mr. Singh have the I I want to tell him he could take a transfer credit for this class. Mr. Singh, what's the answer to this question? What do economists study?
Will most likely be A.
A.
Yeah.
You're guessing?
No.
So what is microeconomics? Microeconomics includes the study of the aggregate effects on national economy, reasons why government change interest rates, recession and inflation in the global economy, choices made by individuals and business.
C.
Sorry?
C.
D?
C.
C.
Yeah.
Recessions and inflation, microeconomics, right? What's something?
So would it be D?
It is D. All right. So this is what the quiz is all about. All right. I am just previewing the quiz. All right. Um, you get 2 attempts, as I said, but you will not necessarily get the same questions. More importantly, the answers will not be located in the same place because everything is going to shuffle around if you do get back the other question. All right. That makes sense? So you get a return here. It says what you get and how much time you have left. So you realize that if I submit all and finish, then I will get a grade, and it'll show that I got 4 out of 10.
You can scroll down and show us the rest.
Those are the other questions there. No, I don't want to show you the rest. I know what all the figure I'm on yesterday. Rachel, I'm finishing probably around 8, half 8 or so, depending. All right, but you can always come back and look at the video. So if you have to leave for another class, it's not a problem. Kind of aware that you have another class tonight, though. All right, so you all understand how it goes, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the highest grade from your performance here. I expect to see a lot of 100%, please. Is that understandable? Would you all agree
Yes,
with
sir.
that?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Now, what's going to happen is as the content becomes a little more tricky, I have already built into the system increased number of attempts. So instead of one or two chances, you might get a few more chances. So I'll go back in and open up everything so you all can see the entire course as it. Let me change my profile. Turn on editing. Let's introduction, edit, show topic. This is the second unit. So you all begin to see all of these things. So as I said, you can move faster if you want, or run, something. You see, one of the things that we've been told is that sometimes when a student goes into a classroom and sees all of this content, they tend to get swamped, and they could panic. Let's put it that way. So you're seeing a pattern to the way in which the units are built. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And you work in relation with the course outline to get the YouTube links. Now, the more technical the area is, the more YouTube links there are available, so you can use them to look at more and more videos. But it starts again with the same process of readings. All right, and the readings are the base of the entire thing. and I have PowerPoint presentations on the topics for you to start with in terms of my attempt at explaining things. All right, that makes sense. So everything's exposed. All the quizzes are already open. So you can move as fast or as slow with you. There are a couple topics. As I said, if we go to the schedule, I have plans to be able to come into class and teach some things with you. Well, kind of like go through things with you. So like consumer behavior, I know I have a session I want to do with you all on the 23rd. That's the next session that we have. The quiz is already open for units 1 and 2. Now those are fairly straightforward units, okay? The nature of economics and economic problem, those are simple, straightforward introductory areas. So, don't rush it. Take your time, do the readings, look at the PowerPoints, and try and get the most amount from the earlier quizzes done. That sounds feasible. So if you get 100%, 100%, that means you're setting yourself in a good stead to get good grades coming down the line. So far, so good. Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's move now to look at the actual. So we looked at quizzes and how they work. This is our grading system. You all should have met this in before in your other class. What is an A? What's a B? That kind of stuff. That's just for your information. We don't want these F, I, W. X is not thing, no grade, pass, non-pass. Transfer credit is what I was talking about with Mr. Singh. You'd see this come up on your transcript. T. Quality points and how GPAs are calculated, that type of stuff. So that's just basic information. Bloom's taxonomy. This is a document that I used in the creation of this document. So when we talk about cognitive, so for those of you who, you don't have to read this, but this here is simply because it was used in the creation of the document, and this can assist you in understanding when we say cognitive domain, what we're talking about. When we say the K domain, which is the psychomotor areas, and the affective domain. So you can look at what the definitions are from the thing. So that's here. So let's look at the individual assignment. The first assignment that is due when? What date is the assignment due?
25th of
April the 25th.
When?
April.
No, it has to be a D.
25th of April.
Why you all sound like you're all guessing? How can you check it? There are two places to check for the deadline.
On the course outline.
And
Sometimes it show up on the calendar.
it would show up on the calendar, yes. On your calendar. But one quick way for you to know when it's coming out is just click on this. Click on where the draft is. And read where it's coming out, the 25th of April. See it?
Yes,
Judy?
sir.
Right. Just remember that. So you don't panic when things are happening. That's what I'm trying to get you all. All of the information, I'm putting it here for you guys. So if you can't get in contact with me and you need to find out something, it's generally going to be in the course outline or on the course page. Help each other out in terms of that situation. How many of you all have an academic calendar? One of these.
I do.
Yeah,
Yes,
I do.
sir.
I just do.
Was sent to all students. That's where we're getting certain information that we need to know. So for instance, you'd see that the 4th of July is the deadline for me to put grades in. That's why I'm giving you a final deadline of the 20th of June. That's kind of like halfway through the final exam period to submit your projects. Right? Now, you'd notice so far, I didn't say we have a final exam. Did you hear me say final exam?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So,
So there's no final exam in this class. It's quizzes and projects.
thank God.
Amen.
All right?
Amen.
No, don't say amen. That means it's continuous assessment. And predictively, continuous assessment is actually more difficult than final exams. Final exams is a one and done deal. That's the only difference. All right. But I know it's a little more relaxing. Okay. Your final evaluation comes in your group project, but we're not going to be looking at it only at the end there. All right. So let's look at the so far so good. Everybody's following. Everybody understands when I say when you want to find out something, where to go. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's look at the instructions now for the individual assignments. Students are now you can read all of this stuff here because it gives you information. It also gives you so you have to answer some questions that are down below, but it also gives you some instructions about how to name the file that you're going to create. It look at it here. Please use the following file naming protocol when naming your files to submit. Your name followed by the course code, then the CRN, then the assignment name, followed by the version. So you see here, we have a student called Jane Doe, Econ 120, CRN 15020. What's the CRN for this class?
So
2028.
286.
19380.
No, that's not the CRN.
It's 20286.
Yeah, where would you see that?
So well, I have my email open, so it's like right there.
Yeah, watch this. What's at the top here? See there? It's at the top of the class. So in terms of editing the this class, I should probably fix this here. All right, but you could fix this because it's a Word document. I should have fixed this actually. 20286, right? Should have done that. I didn't. My bad. Let's save that change. All right. So let's go back to the. Is there anything about this document? There's a lot of back and forth and back and forth. It's getting dizzy sometimes. All right. So let's go to the. Now it's up to you if you want to, but you could print this document for your own use. But it's not mandatory that you print it. We're trying to save trees and things. All right, so let's look at assignment 1. We're just going back and right. So it speaks to how I'd like the paper to be set up. So students are required to answer all questions. Although your paper is being submitted online, it should be typed, double spaced on standard size paper, which is 8.5 by 11 inches. We call that, what's the short name for that?
Letter size paper.
Letter size paper. 1-inch margins on all sides. You should use a clear font that is highly readable. APA, anybody understands what APA means?
That's the citation.
Right, that's one in citation systems. APA recommends using 12 point times New Roman font. Now there are other fonts that you can use too, like Arial, but Arial you'll have to go up to I think font 12 as well. Yeah, size 12. But once the font is readable and double spaced, see that? That means it's going to be easier for me to read the thing. All right, your paper should include a title page, a table of content, page numbers, and relevant section breaks and pagination needed to make the paper reader friendly. Now remember, all the stuff that you write up and type up and fight up with, I have to read. Now I wear glasses because I already can't see, so I don't need a headache of getting it worse, right? Now all work submitted requires appropriate citation, and the citation methodology we are asking for is the APA format. All right, there's a resource here, there's a website in here. for you to go to if you need further instructions, but most of you have done libs, so you have other sources. You may have other sources of data on getting the formatting for citation requirements. Okay, so this is about the instructions. We didn't talk about what the assignment is yet. This is just how to write the paper, how to format your document. Now, you're going to get marks for this. If you do it right or if you do it wrong, you will be getting marks for this. And I'll show you what I mean. So the assignment has to meet certain objectives, and this is the objectives that it's linked to here. So let's look at the actual assignment questions. First section is demand and supply, price ceilings and floors. So using graphical illustrations, explain consumer surplus. Explain the following using examples: inferior goods, Giffen goods, Veblen goods. Distinguish between price ceilings and floors, and you're seeing the marks for them. Next step. So that's, and you continue until you get to question 5 under demand, supply, price ceilings and floors. All right, then you have the next set of questions under economies and diseconomies of scale and the long run average cost curve. And there are 3 questions for you to answer. And you'd see, you'd see that they are 5 by 5 by 15. So which one think requires much more writing than the others?
The one with 15 marks?
Right. So if you call this, let's say you want to call this section A, section B. So section B, question 3 is the one for 15 marks. So obviously, this obviously means we're asking for a lot more. We're asking you to identify and describe 3 examples of economies of scale and 3 examples of diseconomies of scale, and explain why economies of scale are available only in the long run. Okay, so those are the there's a lot of work there. As opposed to that, question 2 is asking you to explain the general shape of the long run cost curve in relation to economies and diseconomies of scale. And question 1 is asking you to distinguish between economies and diseconomies of scale, ensuring to differentiate between internal and external economies and diseconomies of scale. So we're taking one concept and breaking it down to a number of questions for you to research and respond in a structured manner. The content from this will help you in the area of production, which is theory of the firm. So getting this done earlier, before you actually get to the unit that's using the information, will help to make things easier for you to understand. And then we have the third section here, or section C, which is distribution of income. And this is what I said, this is all we need for you to do in distribution of income. Explain the 4 factors of production. You would meet that quite early in the course. Anybody wants to remind me, what are the 4 factors of production? Anybody? Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh.
Yes, sir.
What are the factors of production?
I most believe will be land, capital, labor, and entrepreneurship.
Perfect. We normally say land, labor, capital, and enterprise, right?
Oh,
Normally, but you've listed also. So those are the 4 factors of production that you have to explain, not just identify, but explain. All right. Provide examples for the following concepts: derived demand, factor income, transfer earnings, economic rent. Now, although we didn't say you have to use diagrams, the last 2 here are actually you can illustrate them using diagrams or explain them using diagrams. And then the last question here, briefly explain why the demand for concert tickets is considered derived demand. And that's the end of the assignment. So This assignment will be assessed using the marking system. The content is 70%. Your layout, organization, and presentation of your document is 10%. Use of language is 10%. And your citation is 10%. So you can get everything right up here and make an absolute mess down here, and all you will get is 70%. Now, what is 70%? What grade is 70%?
C.
You want to see in a project? Nope. You want to get an A in a project. Half the time, it's the area of citation and layout that gives the most amount of problems with students' work. Content, not so much. Maybe citation, but most of you all understand the work. It's just expressing it in a manner that makes it, and laying it out in a manner that creates the challenge, especially for the first time, because this is your first major project of this nature that you might be doing. All right, so there is a rubric here that gives further explanation as to how the assessment is being marked. So the 70% is describing to you what we're looking for in the content areas, layout areas, language control, and citation, and why you're following this. You notice that I only have 3 because I am considering 60%. Anything less than 60% is a fail. Okay, guys, remember that. Huh? In Costa, anything less than 60 is a F. You remember that, right? You remember that?
It's the first time I hear that.
First time you hear that? Well, look trouble. Zero to 59 is a F. Anything below 60 is a fail. Look at there. So we don't want grades. Now remember, this is a prerequisite class, meaning your minimum grade has to be a C, or else you might have to end up repeating the class. If you have to repeat the class, GATE is not going to fund it. You're going to have to pay for it yourself. You don't want a C. You want to get as close to an A as possible. And our A in COSTAT is at 90%. In UE, their A is from 70. You know what kind of A that is. But then they focus their attention on final exams a lot. This is why with continuous assessment, the expectation of performance is higher. You all understanding the give and take here now? So for me, 70% and 75% is not good. You need to be scoring in the 90s. Aim for that. Okay? Everybody's following that? I mean, you're sufficiently scared now? For those of you who are first year students, how many of you all got A's last year?
Me, sir.
So you're accustomed, so you didn't know how you got your A?
Wait, sir, I have a question.
Yes, Miss Afra.
So all of our classes supposed to be like that?
All
like
that's
to be
the
graded?
college grading system.
So that don't make sense to me.
It don't make sense.
Because sometimes I get C and I good.
Say that again. Sorry, I'm not hearing you.
I mean, not all my classes I got a C4, but I've gotten like a few C's and I don't have to do it because I passed.
Yeah, no, as I said, the minimum grade to move on is a C. Some
C.
classes, the minimum grade is a D. But you don't want a D. D's and C's negatively impact your GPA. You know? You all remember that, right? The GPA calculations.
Yes.
Well, we'll see. Some people like they All right, so we're following. I detest seeing students with C's. Sorry, D's. D's to me are failure. Anything less than 70%, you fail the course. Telling you that now. So if I mark, all right, so one of the things I'm going to allow you all to do is when you do your first draft of your first go, when you figure you did your first assignment and you think you did it, what I want you to do is put it in for the comparison, and I'll look at your assignment in the comparison and give you some feedback as to what could be or should be fixed. All right, that makes sense. So you're going to
Yes.
get a chance for me to look at it, give you a kind of breakdown of where you're going to be scoring, and get a chance to rewrite it based upon my instructions. That sounds useful.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that all of that has to happen before the end of April, right?
Okay,
Yes.
sir.
So that's why I said you need to start your work on these things almost immediately. So while you're dealing with the content and the quizzes in the class, you also have your assignments to be dealing with as well. Get the impression that somebody's messaging here. What would you appreciate, Crystal? Crystal Campbell. You mean the opportunity to do fixing and rewriting?
Yes, I would greatly appreciate that, to be honest.
Listen, while I'm talking, you could interrupt me and ask questions. It's not a big deal.
Oh, no problem.
Fine. You don't have to just wait for me to stop. You could ask questions wherever you want. Feel free. All right. So everybody kind of follows what that first assignment is about, and what all of this information is here for in the course outline. Is to help you to think. This is the second assignment. This is the articles journal. So let's look at this. Students are required to select a recent article. Now, when we say recent, we've given it a deadline, no older than 6 months, either from local, regional, or international sources, as magazines, newspapers, and so on, and conduct an in-depth analysis of it using the questions below to guide the analysis. To assist with the selection process, please submit the article for review by the lecturer for approval before you attempt the assignment. All right. So, how are you going to submit the article to me? For my approval.
So email.
There you go. And you could also WhatsApp it too, especially if it's an online article. And I would recommend you find online articles as well. In fact, most journals and newspapers think now. Why I want to give you the opportunity to submit the article for me to review is that you need to, because of the questions. If you look at the questions here now, after question 1, what is the article about, which is really a summary, you have to identify two economic concepts discussed in the course so far that is addressed by the article. So I need to make sure that the article that you're looking at actually has concepts in it, because it might be difficult for you to see them in them. So but the reason why I want to see articles is to help you look at it. Now, question that is normally asked is, can people use the same article? Yes. In fact, you all can share the article, because the way in which you're going to answer it is going to be different. You can't really copy each other's responses, right? Although you may be looking at the same concept. In fact, if I find articles online in the WhatsApp chat, I might share the article with you all and say, hey, this is a good article for you all to look at. Now, remember, the two economic concepts, unfortunately, have to be microeconomic concepts. So, what are microeconomic concepts? Those are the concepts that exist in this course outline. That's what you need to be paying attention to. So far, so good. You understand what you need to do there in terms of actually finding the article. When is the deadline for this? Somebody do a quick check.
So May 30th.
There you go. Do you think there's enough time between the first the April deadline and this deadline? April then May is about a month apart. Sounds good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. All right. Now your solution for each of the guided questions should be no more than 250 words. Now that's just a general guideline, so don't panic if you pass the 250. I'll be worried if you don't hit 250. All right, so you have to use APA format and you have to use the same submission requirements, the 15% similarity score. You also have to do a cover page, just like the other article, plus the naming of the file and that kind of stuff. All right, so let's look at the question. So there are 7 questions that you have to respond to. All right. What is the article about? We talked about that already. Identify 2 concepts discussed in the course thus far that are addressed by the article. Define each of these concepts and explain how these concepts have been addressed in the article. A little repetitive. Please provide examples from the article to support your explanation in relation of the relationship that was discussed in the article and the economic concept. All right, so let's say you're talking about a concept like demand. And specifically, let's say you're talking about a change in demand. So if we say change in demand, we know, well, when you do this, when we talk about a change in demand is not the same as change in quantities demanded, right, Mr. Singh?
Yes, sir.
And what will cause a change in demand?
Basically, depending on the market, if the supply drop, I mean, there's the wait. I mean,
The
what
consumer
causes?
choice.
Yeah, taste and choice and stuff like that. So what changes demand is something other than price. So, for example, one of the articles you might find this around this time of the year is things about fish and fish products for Easter. Yes, people might be complaining about the relatively high prices for those things at this point in time. Would you say yes or no?
yes, sir.
Yeah. What caused the price of fish to go up?
Basically, the resources.
No. What causes the price of fish to go up?
Because of land.
Yeah.
Increase in demand.
Okay, let me. I heard about 5 people talking now.
So would that be the increase in demand?
For why? What are you looking at?
Because
What?
of land?
Oh, Alicia, you have it in a day.
Religion.
Well, not religion, but
Because of
culture. It's a cultural influence, isn't it? Because
It's
it's
just
Easter. It's Easter time. Lent, sorry. So during Lent, what happens? What happens in Lent, guys?
become
Are there
the
any Roman
season.
Catholics in the class?
no.
Yeah, the season factor.
They're fasting.
Right? And one of the things that they do is on a Friday, what do they do? What do Catholics tend to do?
Fish.
Eat fish. Come on, guys. That's why the price of fish during the Easter or Lenten season tends to rise so dramatically because demand for fish changes because of a cultural or religious practice. That makes sense?
Yep.
Yeah? All right. So let's say you come across an article that has something to do with that. That's what I'm talking about. Trying to find articles that will deal with a microeconomic issue. A lot of articles tend to deal with macroeconomic issues, but you're not doing macroeconomics, you're doing micro. So there's a smaller subset of concepts that you have to look at. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. You see, Richard must be cussing. He can't speak. He has all the answers. No, you're not cussing? Yeah. Or you don't have all the answers. You're ducking. Go ahead. You have some. All right. Okay. You're supposed to have all. You know why? You did all of this already. That's why I pong him Mr. Singh. Yes, I pong him Mr. Singh. You better be answering these questions. All right, let's go back to this. So we all need to go through and read the questions and understand them and know what you're doing when you're responding. You do not have to wait for the deadline to submit these things. But again, in the e-classroom, you have to go back to the e-classroom here. Right. In the e-classroom, you have to submit it to the Turnitin because again, it requires that 15% similarity limitation. Okay, so remember that as well. This one, because it's so close to the end, and you should already be more or less understanding how you're doing, you don't get too much of a rewrite opportunity with this because this is something that I'm going to be helping you with individually all the way through, with you talking to me and me talking back to you, that kind of stuff. Y'all understand what I mean by that, right? When you're working on an article, you're going to be working on it with me on a kind of one-to-one. That's why we want to chat with each other. So looking at this article and I'm not understanding what this question is asking, that kind of stuff. So one-to-one sessions, quickly discussing things either well, I can't say face-to-face, but like on a phone call or that kind of stuff is going to be important for you guys to be able to communicate with me, to be able to get this question done. That sound feasible, guys?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the marking system is 50% is from the content, 10% on organization, 10% on language, 10% citation. So that this assignment is marked out of, can't check right now, that's 80%, right? So each question here has a different system of marking. So this was telling you where we're going. All right. And same thing, 10% for layout and that kind of stuff. So the overall mark is out of 80, but it'll be expressed as a percentage out of 100. All right. So that's what the total of the content is looking at. So far, so good? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Details are somewhat sketchy. Oh my God. All right, so this is the discussion about quizzes. You all can read this, but we talked about that. In actual fact, there are 8 quizzes on the system. Huh? One is a bonus quiz, but I'm only taking 7 quizzes. Your best 7 scores will go towards your final grade. That sounds okay? The reason why there are 8 quizzes is that I split one of the units into 2 parts because of its density. So let me show that to you on the e-classroom so that you wouldn't be shocked by it. So when we come down to the end, more to the end of the course here, when we get to theory of the firm 1, I split unit 7 into 2. Theory of the firm part 2, part 1, and theory of the firm 2, part 2. So that because I split the content up, because it's so much work in it, I put 2 quizzes, and I decided instead of saying, okay, you have 8 quizzes to do, you do have 8 quizzes to attempt, but I'm only going to be taking your best 7 marks. That sounds fair, guys? Or you all want me to include all 8?
So the best someone.
Best 7, the highest 7 marks that you have. No, I'll let you all know how people have gotten 100% on quizzes, huh? Because by the time you come, like these here, let me just show you what I'm talking about. This one is available from the 24th of April. You have 4 attempts on that quiz because it's relatively difficult. I know I'm not going to preview the quiz now. You understand? So what I did, and I think I said it in the instruction, is that as the quizzes got more progressively more difficult, I increased the number of attempts that you have. That makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah. The my philosophy is I want to give you the opportunity to learn something, and the way to learn is to encourage you to take chances. So if you do the quiz once and you get a poor grade, go back over the material, try and understand it better, and then go and attempt the quiz again. That is usually the strategy I tell my students. Try to go through the content, then do the quiz. If the first attempt that you did, you get a second attempt, try and improve upon that. I've seen some people do the second time around and basically they don't wait, or they don't actually go and do it over because they review the material. They just went and tried it a second time. No. If you got a poor grade, it meant that you didn't quite understand the work. So the best way to do that is go and review the material before you attempt the second time. All right? Somebody wanted to ask a question? So we have the schedules of quizzes here. All right? So the last couple of quizzes are all opening on the 24th. When we start theory firm, all quizzes, the last opening date is the 24th. So far, so good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the reason why I'm not closing the quizzes is because I don't want to force you all to have to rush to do units. I want you to take your time, understand the content, and attempt the quiz when you feel you're ready to do it. I'm not there with you. I can't force you to go and do a quiz. But you know for your own self that you have to get the quiz sorted out because it's too much marks sitting there waiting for you. So the idea is you will go and do the quiz when you feel you are comfortable to do it. And one of the things that we have to look out for is internet failure when you're doing your quiz. If that happens, then I can give you an extra opportunity to tackle the quiz, if you understand what I mean, right? But that's kind of identified up here. Reopening of quizzes shall only be entertained for students who have valid and documentable issues. Well, valid, documenting a power outage might be difficult, but if at the time you're trying to do something, it happens, send me a message and let me know. So that way I know, okay, this student is going to require a quiz to be reopened or something like that. Because it happens, people will be in the middle of doing a quiz and they get a power outage. It's not their fault. Doesn't mean that I'm going to punish them for that. No. I can't do that. I want to give you all the benefit of the doubt. Of course, try no sly ones there for me, okay? Everybody understanding everything so far? All right, so let's get to the one that we need to spend. Oh, we're already 8 o'clock. All right. Final project. Students will be formulated into groups of 4 to 5 persons and complete a country analysis on a country assigned to them by answering the questions listed below. So again, this is talking about the 15% similarity and how the project has to be formatted and whatnot. Let's go to the questions one time. All right, so you have 6 questions plus an introduction and conclusion to write. Okay, and the written project is marked out as 60%, organization 20, language 10, citation 10, and there's a rubric for that, and we'll talk about that. So these are the questions here. What type of economic system does this country have? Explain 3 benefits and 3 drawbacks of this system to that country. Not to all countries, but to that country. All right. Discuss how this economic system allocates the country's resources, providing examples of its impacts upon demand decisions, and 2 examples on supply decisions. So those are things you have to pay attention to on specifically to the country. So every answer that you give is specific to the country that you're investigating. All right. So you'd see what are the dominant types of firms, what's the dominant type of market structures, what is the impact of this market structure on prices, profitability, and so on. And then we ask you to look at what are the positive and negatives of impacts of the coronavirus on that on households and firms in those countries. All right. You also, as I said, you have to do an introduction, which will overview the country in terms of its demographics, such as its location, size, culture, language, population, type of government systems, the current leaders, interesting places, and interesting facts about the country. Students will be allowed to use diagrams and pictures in their project as long as they are properly referenced. So far, so good. Now you do the research, you pull these questions together, and then you are required to present your findings in a 20 to 25-minute oral presentation, which will be worth 10% of the final grades and will be marked using the following criteria. The content of your presentation, 10%, your presentation skills, 25%, and citation, oral citation skills and presentation citation skills, 15%. All members are required to contribute to the presentations, and should be, I will be recording your presentation, so like what's going on today. We're also using a system of peer evaluation, where if a group is having problems, I will make you complete peer evaluations of each other. It's your own personal, this is the peer evaluation form here. You put the name of all your other members in your group, and you rate them out of 0 to 4 on 25 questions that ranks different aspects of their behavior or non-behavior in a particular group. All right. And based upon the score that they get or the individuals get, they will then get that percentage value of the total score of the project. So you could have gotten 95% of the project, but if you get a peer evaluation score of 70%, you will only get 70% of that 95%. Now, why am I using peer evaluation? Peer evaluation is designed to try and help people realize that they need to work well together. Group work tends to be difficult because you're dealing with so many different personalities, and other people are dependent on other people to get things done, to be able to move as a group. Not so collaborative learning. All those people who did the collaborative learning. Now, the peer evaluation form is not supposed to be punitive. The idea is that I want you all to work on working together better. I don't want to use the peer evaluation system if we don't have to. Because if the group works well, then we don't need to do a peer evaluation. But in order for me to know it works well is that I want constant feedback from the groups about how things work. Now, that leads us to groups. And there are rubrics here for you guys to use to help understand how things are being marked, right? Most of the older students are fairly accustomed to seeing rubrics and stuff like that. All right, any questions so far? That's the end of the So you notice that you have to put your group project here. I actually need to put in a submission place here for you guys to put in your my bad, I have to actually put in another submission. To put in your PowerPoints. Because most of you will be using PowerPoint as a method of presenting. So your group presentation instruments need to be submitted as well. So I have to add one more assignment submission um, portal. All right, that was a lot there. Questions, anybody? Questions, anybody?
Yes, sir. Question with regards to the group. When would we be placed
When
in a
no,
group or whatever?
today. You have to do that today because I have some work for you all to do before the next class.
Okay.
All right. So that's what we're gonna be using. Where is it? I closed it. How is that possible? Oh. All right, this. Yeah. So we're missing a couple people in class. Are you all seeing this, guys?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
All right. So
Yeah.
there are 26 people in class. Copy. We just copy that over to another page. Um, all right. So you want the all right, whatever. All right. So there are 26 of you all in class. I'm thinking we should work groups of five, and one group will end up being six. All right. So the question is, all right. So the question is, how do we group people? So the first thing we want to find out is who has previous experience with economics. So we know I've been calling his name all night. We have, I'm going to put a T next to his name, Mr. Mr. Singh. Yes? Who else has experience again? Let's hear the people confess. Now Daniram and Hill are absent. So let's go. Miss Afat, you said you had any prior experience?
Only POV and OA, so I would say not really.
Now I'm looking for people who did economics
Oh, well,
as
I'm not
A
the one.
level or A level subject. No? All right, Alexander, Christopher. Is he in class? But he was. Where you going now? Alexander? Maybe he wasn't here. But he was. I've got his phone number. I'm not hearing all the people volunteering all of a sudden. All right. Miss Ali, Aliyah Ali, you had any?
No, sir.
What about Sia Ali?
No, sir.
Nicolette,
No, sir.
Angelina,
No, sir.
Valdeo,
No, sir.
Bukan.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you did. Okay, good. Right. Campbell.
Yes, sir. I have some experience in it.
Okay. Well, Danny Rahman Hill are not here. Johnson.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, good. Jones. Okay. I know some people can't speak, so
No, sir.
no. All right. I know Richard has some, but because he can't communicate, let's leave him off in a minute. What about Karishma?
So I did it at O levels.
That's fine. That's enough. Panic as well. What about Mr. Stefan Mansing?
Yes, sir.
You do? All right, good.
Yeah.
McIntyre.
No, sir.
Ramdas. No. Guys, if they're answering on the chat, let me know because I can't see the chat when I have these documents open. All right, so what about Romaine? I remember Rose said she didn't have any background.
No. No.
All right, so how about Siwa?
No, sir.
Sullivan? Thomas?
No, sir.
Thompson? And Williams?
Yes, sir.
You have some? All right, good. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we have 7 people who.
Excuse sir, Tiffany Thompson said no as well.
All right, thank you very much. All right, cool. All right, so we can start by saying, let me cut paste here. Let's put that there. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so I'm going to use these people primarily to kind of give the group a point to center around. Now, there are a couple more people. So now the problem is Mr. Singh might not stay with us. He might leave. It depends upon what his advisor says. So I'm going to put him together with, let's say, Mr. Mansingh for now. Or you have a preference, Mr. Singh? Which other person do you see yourself going to?
No, anything. There's no problem.
Anything. All right, I'll give it to Campbell. All right. Ms. Williams, you said you had any background?
At CSEC.
Right. So I'll put you with Ms. Johnson. That's that. We tackle all these people already. All right. So now we could start to assign other people to groups. So, Ms. Afat, you have any preference with these 5 sets of people? Well, I already put.
Just once with somebody who know the thing. I'm good.
Yeah, well, the reason for it, you can't expect them to do everything. Huh? I'm going to put you with
Well,
Krish.
obviously, sir, but once you experience in Econ.
Okay. So I'm going to, I already put 1 each into the other 2 groups. I'm going to rotate now to, I'll put you with Mirage. Alexander is not here. We have 4 not for class. All right, so now we could start to assign other people to groups. So now we could start to assign other people to groups. So I'm going to put you with Mirage. Alexander is not here. We have 4 not for class. 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 4 not for All right, let's assign them later on. Let's give other people a chance there. Okay, so Alicia Ali, where do you think you want to go?
Stefan.
Stefan?
Yeah.
You know Stefan?
We was in a previous class together.
Uh-huh. You know him. All right, okay. Asia. Well, you kind of have to go to Buchanan. Buchanan.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Right. Is Ali in here?
So she just dropped off, but you could put her in under my group, well, our group, Jaisha and Imani.
Imani. Oh, Johnson. Okay. Okay. All right. What about Angelica? Angelina. Sorry.
I'll go with Karishma.
Why are you all calling people first name already? You all know each other or something?
Yes, I know her from Lit.
Uh-huh. All right. It's a friends thing. Let's see what happened there. All right. Jones.
You could put me anywhere, no.
And I'll put you with Mansing. All
Okay,
right.
sir.
McIntyre. Any preferences with who you
Yeah,
see?
I'll go with Karishma.
Right. Well, Krishma have one more spot left, huh? Amanda Ramdas.
Excuse sir, how you pass me straight so? Amy Balde Puran.
I know I'm watching you there. I watching the name and I was like, is she absent? I'll come back to you in a bit. But what about Amanda? She's not here? All right. Miss Balde, where would you like to go?
I'll go with Bukan, Alicia.
All right, cool. Thank you, because they were looking a little lonely there. So Amanda Ramdas is not here. All right, let's go to who else is here. Rumain is here. Somebody check the messages for me, okay? All right, Rose.
Anywhere.
All right, I'm gonna put you with Mr. Singh and Mr. Campbell. Oh, Miss Campbell. Sorry, my bad. Miss Brittany, where would you like to go?
With Stefan's group.
Stefan attracting all the women to I don't know what Stefan is.
No, sir, it's just we was in previous classes together.
Yeah, that's what it is. All right, Sullivan. I know you kind of, because these guys look like they have some previous thing. Sullivan, Rachel Ann. All right, how about Thompson? Tiffany.
So I could go with anybody, huh? Thomas.
Thomas, you could go with anybody.
Yeah.
We do
Anybody
have
you
a-
put me with.
We do have a group called Anybody, you know. But seeing as you say anybody, I'll put you with these guys here.
Okay.
All right. Sullivan's not here.
Excuse sir, Tiffany Thompson said she would go with anyone.
With anybody.
Yeah.
Tell Tiffany for me, we don't have anybody here called anybody.
Okay, sure.
We have specific names. Anybody is not a person. All right, so Sullivan. I'll put Sullivan here because I just need to start to even up the groups. Alexander was here, so this is one group closed. Lachman, I will put here. Another group closed. Amanda Ramdas, who's here. Another group is closed. Romain, over here. And right, we have two absent folks. So what I'll do, um, I'll put Hill with this group here. And Mr. Singh, just in case, I'm going to overload your group to 6, okay?
Yes, sir, no problem.
Just in case you end up pulling out, so they will end up having 5 at the end of the day. Not that, as I say, not that I'm running here. It's just that I just see it being prudent that you get some exemptions for your efforts. All right, so guys, you're seeing your groupings. So this is group 1. Not too dark. All right. Okay, so people are more or less familiar with who they are with now, right? Yes?
Yep.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so I want to see how well you all can brainstorm something here for me now. I need every group to come up with 2 countries that you want to go on research.
Switzerland.
No. Don't talk to me yet. You have to talk to your group people.
So, but how we talking to them?
That what I saying, sir?
That's why I said brainstorm.
So it's always have a cross communication kind of thing.
Yeah, y'all, again, I'm presenting a problem. You all have to
Well,
find.
sir, here what we could do, each group could go first and talk about which one they want to do and then move on to the next one.
Up to you, up to all.
Well, the first group could go ahead and discuss and then we'll wait then, I guess.
What about if you all just simply share
Can we do a
um,
WhatsApp group or something?
correct, exactly. Dave.
Well, we need the numbers again.
Exactly, sir.
Yeah, right.
Then you have to create it, and then we might go till 10 o'clock.
Look the numbers here.
God Sarah, wicked.
Yeah, you can spin us, that's all.
Nope. Let me just close this column so you can see it a little better. Hide that and hide that.
Okay, I'll make the group for group 2.
Thank God. Thank you.
I will make the group for group 1.
You know who the groups are?
So I'm now gonna say that.
Well, you gotta find out what you want. Either you want the groups up. Let me move group 4 and 5 across here. One. Cuts. So put that here. Now you'll see everybody. It's a little bit too dark. You can see those more clearly. Make them bigger.
So we need the numbers.
No, everybody got their group people.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, good. So now we could go across. Numbers. I'm just gonna close these two guys off for now because they're not here. So you'll see everybody's number who is here. All right, giving you all 10 minutes. Richard might have to do his through the chat. So check because some people still can't communicate. So check on the chat and see what's going on.
For group one, I created a group. Y'all could just check your phone to see for like any message.
Hey, yeah, I got it.
All right. So we have any groups that's ready for?
Yes, sir.
Right. Let's
Group
see.
2 is Switzerland and China.
Switzerland, China.
Yeah.
How you spell that?
My brain on ear right now, sir. Help.
Switzerland
Zerland. So it's
and China.
Switzer.
Right? Switerland.
No, Switzer.
Or TZ.
Alien. Yes.
TZ. No. Okay. That's correct. Switzerland. Okay. Anybody else?
Group 5, sir.
Uh huh.
We're doing.
No, you're not doing nothing yet. You're
Oh, sorry,
suggesting
sir. We choose Guyana and Japan.
Guyana and Japan. All right. Anybody else? All of the groups still in discussion stage?
Yes, sir.
Group 3, China and England.
China and England.
Yeah.
Right, so you realize there's another group that chose China as well, right? And two groups can't do the same country.
Oh.
So you have to talk to the people from group 2 and see if they have another alternative or if you all have another alternative. And
Okay.
your group is missing one individual right now. Same group 5 also only had 4 people at this point in time, so that's probably why they had faster decision making. there's also an issue with England. England is actually part of the UK. So when you're talking about England, you might actually be mean the UK, not England. England is one country that makes up the United Kingdom.
So for group one, we doing Dubai and Barbados.
You ain't doing nothing yet.
Well, will we choose?
Dubai and Barbados. Yes. Is that spelled right? Barbados. It looks right. Not hearing anything from Sullivan and them, man. What's going on?
So for group 4, we're choosing France and Canada.
France and Canada. All right, then. So we have one problem, and that's between group 2 and group 3 with the overlap of China. Is it that you all wanted to do an Asian country, guys? Group 2 and 3, just speaking to you guys.
They're interesting.
Well, they have other interesting countries, and there's the whole world are telling you how to choose from, you know. Now, although you have made some choices tonight, you can also go back and come back with another when you all start to meet to begin to, because I'm going to give you all something to do in relation to this. So I already made a suggestion to group 3 that instead of just looking at England, they may need to be looking at the United Kingdom. All right, because England is one of the states that make up the United Kingdom. Group 2, you all have an alternative to China that you all want to...
Nah, sir, we set.
You know how many times I've read reports on China? It's kind of boring.
So we
So
still
you
not
think we should
changing.
do China or not?
I'm not sure who's speaking, so let me know. One group 2 or group 3, somebody needs to give up China.
So we come first. We said China. That's that.
Hello, because you come first don't mean nothing in this world.
Sir, but we say China first. What you
But
want us to
my
do
foot.
about that?
But my foot.
Would you
Okay,
advise
sir.
us to do China since you're saying you have read articles already on it? Would you advise us to stick with China?
I'm bored. I just want to see somebody do a different country altogether.
So what is your whole intention behind this?
You're trying to make us give it up?
Interesting to find out about.
Well, give us one, sir, and then we might switch. If
And
you convince us.
you all look for the smallest country in the world, and do a
Indonesia.
as Micronesia you need to look into. There's a
Trinidad.
Sorry?
Trinidad.
No, that's not the smallest nation in the world. You know, there's one that a lot of people don't think about, and we played that football match against them when we went to Germany. What's the name of that country again? Not Dubai, but somewhere in the Middle East there, or in the Asia. Anyway, my point being is that so I would suggest to group 2 and group 3 find a third alternative.
Okay, so fine. You know, we should do all of us should just change our China thing and then first.
Okay, sir, but we a bit indecisive. So, can we decide on the other country not today?
Well, you see, I want to give you all some homework to go and do as a group, which is to start some basic research into these countries, looking at one, availability of information, and 2, the reliability of that information. So this is why I want you all to kind of narrow things down.
Okay.
And I don't
Can
want
we?
I don't want groups competing with each other for a country. So that's why one of you all need to give up China. And although
Um.
group two said they came first, it doesn't matter to me.
So
It's
have you ever read reports on Singapore?
yes. But
Okay.
if you want, you can still do it. Which group is that?
Group 2.
Group
It's not
two?
a definite thing, so we're discussing, so just asking.
Yeah, okay. So I could
Brazil for group 3.
Brazil? Alright.
Yeah.
Brazil. Alright. So take off China then. Yes?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Group three? Okay. Alright, so your next instructions that come up with this is to each group needs to spend some time investigating each of these countries in relation to the question that has been asked to find out whether or not you can quickly source information from, remember, if you look at the questions for the group project, you need to be able to find this information. And if you can't find the information or you're having problems, then maybe you could make a change in the questions that you're looking for, or the country, I should say, the countries that you're looking at. So you need to work with this document and start to look for some basic information to see what is available, how easy it is to get. So you're looking at two aspects of those countries. You're looking at the availability of information and the reliability of that information. So far, so good? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I have another question for you all. I have that the next session that we have is the 23rd, not so? According to the schedule.
Yes, sir.
All right. So my question to you guys would be, would you all want to have a second session earlier? Either the next week, the 9th, or the 16th, where I can go through something with you all. Let's say go through the PowerPoint for Unit 1.
The 16 sound good.
The 16th.
Next week to look at Unit 1 with you all.
The 16th, next week is the 9th.
Yeah, no. Not next week, yeah. The 16th. So you want me to turn this into a purple date now? That's what you're trying to say.
So, well, that's what you're asking us to do.
Well, no, that's what I mean. I can do an additional online session with you all on the 16th and see if we need to do the 23rd and so on. And we'll work with like that. Okay, so all right. So I'll set up our online session here. All right, 16th of March. Okay, so and we'll see which one of the units you all want me to cover, whether you want me to go through the unit on the first unit or the second unit by that time. Because by that time, you all might have already kind of gone through some of that material already. And we could check back and see how people are doing with the quizzes for the first unit at least. Cool? That makes sense, guys?
Yes, sir.
All right. So,
Yes, sir.
all right. Anybody's familiar with these two names, Daniram Rees and Van Burnhill, from previous classes?
No, sir.
No? Okay. All right. So we'll see if by next class they come in or if we see them online. If not, I'll have to message them and find out what's going on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me stop the recording now.